Welcome everybody to the Lighthouse Podcast. My name is Alex Camargo and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Danny Silva. Today we'll bring you two marketing geniuses turned real estate agents, and then we're gonna see a little bit about their story. Check it out. Welcome back, so glad you decided to join us. Thank you so much for being here. Do us a favor before we even start this video, smash that like button, subscribe to this video so it can go out to more and more people. You can help us reach a broader audience. Danny, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. So today we bring in new agents, but coming from a marketing background, people who know the internet in and out and who've been using it forever, even before they started real estate. So here with us, without any further ado, Byron and Angela. How you guys doing?
We're good. How
Fantastic.
You guys doing?
Yeah. Well, Alex, Daniel, thank you guys for bringing us along, and we're excited to chat. And it's always a pleasure being here.
Good, good. So I'll talk quickly about how we actually met. Right? We're doing a crazy run, and then we stop. We stop at a pizza place. Right after that, that was our reward for the long run. And then I got a phone call from this guy who says, hey, Alex, I found you online on Zillow.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a real estate license. And that was only 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. How did you actually find me at all?
That's a good question. Well, I just did my research. So I'm an individual that loves to take action and just get down and dirty. I don't want to overthink things. So I just did a little due diligence. I saw some name that popped up on some transactions because, knowing myself, I'm like, I have to get in touch with individuals that are very familiar with the area, Connecticut, and are doing closing transactions, and they have stuff going on. I saw your name pop up a couple times, and I was like, okay, fantastic. I see this gentleman named Alex. Your picture was a little funny to me, but I was like, okay.
That's my best headshot, man.
I was like, oh, interesting haircut, but I love it. I love this guy already. So I'm like, all right.
Is he 23 or 35? I mean, you couldn't really tell.
I did think that. I'm like, he looks a little young, but let's see what he's doing, because he seems to be doing something. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick up the phone, and I called him up, and we chatted for a few minutes, and I just told him, I got to the point. Alex, I think you're fantastic. I'm getting my license, and I would love to chat with you if you have a few minutes. That's literally it. And Alex was kind enough to be like, yes, absolutely. Give me a few, maybe you called me an hour later or something like that. And that's pretty much it. And then, you invited me to the office, and I had a pleasure of meeting you, your partner, and a few of your teammates. And, I felt very comfortable. And I was like, you know what, this guy knows what he's doing. And I wanted to pick your brain up a little bit more. And that's pretty much it. That's really how we met, which is just a phone call, as I was just talking about with Danny.
Yeah.
The power of the cell phone. You pay, I don't know, $50, $60 a month, whatever it is. You have everybody.
2019 prices, bro. COVID.
The truth is, everybody has an iPhone, right? Like everybody will splurge and pay. You have the new iPhone 13, 14. I don't even know what number it is at this point, but they're paying thousands of dollars for phones or electronics. But they're just playing games on it. If you scrolling, right? If you realize the power of this device, and that having this device can make you millions in today's world, it's just impeccable. And it just took one phone call to get in contact with you, and now we're sitting here chatting. So this has been fantastic.
And isn't that the same day that he actually participated on a podcast with us? The guy shows up for an interview and
hopped in front of the camera.
Hopped in front of the camera. Teaches us some stuff, and we're like, where did you find this guy?
That was the question.
Where did you find this guy? It's like, that unicorn that shows up every 10 years. But that goes to say what, like you said, with the cell phone and networking.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. That's what it's all about, networking.
100%.
And you can do that, like you said, you found Alex trying to find somebody who'll get down and dirty, your words, right? Yeah. With the funny haircut and everything like that. You found the guy. That's the one person who inspired me to become a real estate agent as well.
That's awesome.
Never really judged him for his haircut, Been
Well,
friends for-
we've been friends for 20 years, so he's seen different versions of it.
different-
Oh, yeah. The long hair don't care. Long hair don't care. Yeah, that was the time that
That's
happened.
funny.
But just going back to what I was saying, like a lot of people, and especially like you guys right now, with the success that you guys have been having, just starting off as agents. It took me like 6 months to sell my first home.
Okay.
You know, but back then I didn't have guidance like a team, or I didn't even know that the power that brings, you know, the power of a mentor, the power of, you know, a team, or you know, people who are going to be there, that you can actually have conversations with buyers and sellers, and they feel like you've been in this for a long time because of the guidance of the team that's behind you. You know what I mean?
100%. The
Yeah.
support that you have. You know, there's a learning curve to everything in life, and if you could minimize that learning curve by picking somebody's knowledge and brain and experience, that's gonna accelerate your growth. So that's something I always preach. Just always, you know, have a conversation with people who have done it. For instance, if you want to have a long, loving, lasting marriage, you're not gonna go in and get advice from somebody who's single and still bar hopping. You're gonna go in and get advice from somebody who is doing that, who has a loving and committed relationship. Same thing in business. You're not gonna go in and just listen to somebody who's just not doing what you want, you know, not doing what your goals are. You're gonna find somebody who's doing what you're doing, well, what you wish to do, and you're gonna pick his brain. And that's exactly how I came across Alex. And you know, it's been a pleasure because I've been able to give him a call whenever I have a question, and that is tremendously valuable to me. It could, you know, a little experience could either make or break a deal with a client, or whatever, or be able to close a transaction down. And that's, you know, you could ask Alex. I reach out to him when I have these questions. I'm a man of action, and I like to take initiative, but I understand the power of experience and being in the industry as long as he has. He's a veteran in the industry, and he shows that.
Yeah.
But I do want to say also, what I did appreciate about coming in the first time and meeting you was there was no pressure. It was all about arming you with as much knowledge as you can put on that person. So we were learning a lot about EXP. We were learning about the team. We were learning the pros and cons of being, you know, independent and also being part of the team. And I just love that we were able to walk away and we didn't feel like he was saying, hey, you have to join, or you have to be part of this team. And that's really what, you know, felt really comfortable talking to you and knowing that it was good either way. And if we wanted to call you and ask for advice, being on the team or not, you were there.
Yeah, and I think our position here will be whether you're a part of our team or not, but we've crossed paths and we become friends, we'll always be available, right? Because this whole career to us goes beyond any amount of money that we can make. You know, it's about relationships. Real estate is about relationships. I think the most fulfilling part of this business is we can actually we get to sit down, and it's such an intense transaction with people, right? Because sometimes you're searching for a house with a buyer for a year. You got to know them, their parents, you know, their in-laws, their kids, and it's such a long transaction. When we do the same thing with agents, right? Like whether you let's say stay with the XP in the future, you join a different brokerage firm, we're in the same town. Yeah. We're gonna be doing, you know, transactions on either side of the transaction 20 years from now.
Seeing each other's offers coming in, and that's how.
Why wouldn't I want to enrich that, right? And then value that relationship, right? Let me ask you this question. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, right? So you're married. You moved, because I want to get to a point later in this video. You're married. You moved into a town where you didn't know anybody, and then soon after you decided to start real estate, which is a business that most people would flourish by depending on their sphere of influence, right? The circle, the people that they know. And then you come in here and then you don't know anybody, but you want to use your background in marketing and sales and then start real estate. How is that working out, right? How did that come about, and now how's that working out?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, so we were, right before we decided to purchase a house in Connecticut, we were living in Brooklyn. We were in Williamsburg, one big bedroom, apartment, paying tons of money. I mean, now looking at the record prices that New York City current rent has right now, it's not even. Yeah, we got a bargain, but we were paying, well over $4,000 on a monthly basis. And COVID hit, and we were like, okay, so we have dogs. We have 3 dogs. We have a cat.
We're both working from home.
We've been working from home before COVID, and it was kind of like a hybrid mode. So we were already comfortable with that, and we just said, you know what? Let's start looking. Let's start looking for a bigger place, and we decided. Connecticut is a great place because it just has so much to offer.
It was really like a 1-hour radius from New York City is what we were looking from every direction. But we landed in Connecticut thanks to another person we were working with that helped us find a home at that time.
Yeah. And, we love Connecticut. We love it a lot. And in general, we both actually have a very strong passion for real estate in general in terms of, for instance, our home, we didn't buy it turnkey. It was a home that has not been renovated since the 80s. And we were like, oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, look at this shag carpet. Let's flip this upside down. Let's take this away. Let's put new sheetrock. Let's redo the everything from floors to walls, the exterior of the house. We wanted to tackle that project. We always had an eye and a passion for real estate. And just to back a little take a step back, we both have come from years, about 10 years each of experience in sales and marketing. And typically, I was more into the finance aspect of sales and marketing, more specifically helping investors allocate cash to companies, private and public companies that are upcomers or potentially going public. So that's really where my background lies. And that requires a lot of market data, looking at numbers and building relationships. And that is some of the skill sets that I've been able to sort of grab and bring it to real estate. And that I feel like it's my sort of unique skill set that has helped me accelerate my growth in real estate and understanding. And same thing with finance. When I went in, I didn't know anybody in finance. I was down in Wall Street and I had no idea who was who. And I had to bring in deals for this new young hedge fund. And I was like, okay, well, as soon as I got the job, I was like, okay, how am I gonna start doing this? And the first day, I decided to make a list of everybody, a name of about 100 individuals that I found online. And I picked up the phone, and I'm telling you, I was the worst guy on the phone. I was stuck. And the funny thing is, it's a huge open space. And this new kid comes in, looking nice and sharp, but he picks up the phone and he sounds like a young kid, just not being confident on the phone. But that experience has just changed. 3 months in, I actually got my first deal, which was spectacular, but it took 3-4 months in.
Right.
So I'm just using the same methodology that I utilized in that sort of period in my life, and that's when my experience in sales and marketing comes into play. And I was able to actually cultivate that into the real estate market today, and I feel like that's what has helped me grow in the space as quickly as I can.
But that's the recipe right there, right? Mm-hmm. Building relationships, being relentless on making phone calls and talking to people, and knowing your numbers, knowing your data. You know what I mean? Because once you have some of that knowledge, and you're able to bring something to the table to your potential clients, now you come with they trust you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the third part of that, marketing, is the heart of any business these days. If you know how to market yourself, you know how to put yourself out there, especially a young, good-looking couple as yourselves.
Thanks.
And know how to talk to people, know how to communicate. There's no secret why they're doing so great, know?
So let's talk about that. You're 2 months into real estate.
Yeah.
And you've already closed deals.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Those numbers are, and what impresses me more is it's not like you grew up here and then you were gonna sell one of your relatives' house and they were just waiting for you to get a license so you can put that house on the market. You came into a town where you didn't know anybody. You had no sphere of influence to rely on. And then you were like, all right, let's go get a license in real estate. You got licensed about the same time. And then you start and you use the same methodology from before, right?
Yeah.
Which in one of our conversations you mentioned something that really opened up my mind even more. You mentioned it's a learning curve. Let's just get it done with.
Yeah, over with.
Because you know what you're encountering, right? So like
pain.
it's a new kid in a new town.
Yeah.
Let's just go through the pain, the growing pain. Let's just get it done with. You're not afraid of how much it's gonna hurt. You just want to get it over and put it in the rear view mirror, right? And then put it in the past, so you can start experiencing the deals closing, the money coming in, so you guys can sustain yourselves and all of that. That was very interesting. It was I appreciate that. I appreciate that you touched on that. You're here. You're 2 months into real estate. You've already got one closed deal.
One closed deal.
And then you've got a couple more deals in the pipeline.
Yes.
And you've already encountered a lot of issues in those deals with failed septic system.
Absolutely.
Right? We're going through that.
Yeah.
So you're learning a lot in 2 months.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say to that is these numbers are unheard of. And I'm speaking not only for what you've done in 2 months, but also I'm speaking in faith to what you're going to accomplish in the future, because I know you're not going to slow down now. You're only going to start accelerating more, right, in learning so much. It's been a joy to see you guys talk to people, right? We were in an open house together, and then how you introduce yourself, how you engage people through their experience through an open house. And I've seen you guys on the phone, and it's the same thing, right? Because you've done phone sales for a long time, right? So you have no fear of picking up the phone and talking to people. And it's already starting to pay off. I mean, I've been in real estate for almost 10 years, and very few people actually stand out as much as you guys have.
Yeah.
Because if you've already done this much in very little time, then the sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I do think that there is like the recipe. Like we both come from different industries, both in sales, both in marketing, and the grunt work is the same. So you apply that into real estate and really just
different product, right?
Right,
Yeah.
it's a different product, but the recipe is the same. You pick up the phone, you cold call, and you get over it. The first, for me, when I'm coming from print and marketing, in print sales, it was 6 months of, they tell you it's going to be hell these 6 months. Yeah. Just get through it, and every single day, just get through it every day. Yeah. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it is that building the relationships, building the business that will become fruitful at the end of that whole 6 months. It's hell. Yeah. So that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the sowing season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sowing season, and then you get to rip that later. A lot of people want to, especially like you guys, right now, you building relationships, you working with the people who are gonna wanna buy or sell in the future, but you also need that immediate income kind of, so calling for sell by owners and expireds and everything like that. And one of the things that there's success there is because most agents are not doing that.
Yeah, and you're
that's a good point. And
most agents are not doing that. And you know, like us, we're talking about cell phones earlier. You might make a phone call a little bit later today for sell by owners. Like, oh yeah, all right, I'll give you a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never know, but that guy's been trying to sell his house for the last 2 months, and not one agent has called him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even call them with the wrong approach and not knowing what to say.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, so you sold a listing recently, which, getting a listing at the beginning of your real estate career is also unheard of. Usually you work more with buyers. And then you already have another listing out right now.
Correct.
How did you get those 2 listings? Or how did you guys get those 2 listings?
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was a secret sort of formula, but I'll be honest, it just goes back to the basics. The basics is you go to the drawing board and you're like, okay, fine. You do not have a sphere of influence, right? Okay, so great. What is your strengths? And I looked at my strengths, and you got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, all right, what can I do every single day to get myself from point A to point B, which is get a listing? And the one thing that I noticed was I'm persistent. So I'm like, all right, and I am great when it comes to rejections. You could tell me no. My wife told me no maybe like 50 times before she decided to be with me. That's a true story. Yeah. And persistence always wins. Consistency and persistence always wins. It's completely true, And I realized, okay, fine, let's go back to the drawing board. What are the basics in starting out in real estate? And I saw, okay, fantastic. And I'm new to the industry. I didn't even know what for sale by owner really meant, honestly.
FSBO, the FSB.
2 months, 3 months ago, I had no idea what that was, by the way. So I was like, all right, FSBOs. Great, that's one way of getting leads. Another one is expired listings. Okay, fantastic. Another one is, absentee owners. Okay, fantastic. Another one is networking. Okay, great. So you start building up a strategy, but it all roots down from one special ingredient, and that is your mindset. It all comes down to your ability to say, hey, I could do this. Hey, I could visualize myself doing this. I am a strong 100% believer in manifestations and visualizing your outcome up to the teeth. How much money you want to be making, how you want to approach people, how are you speaking to people in your mind. So it's one of those things I picked up from the greats, Kobe Bryant, who's huge in that he would just, or LeBron James, for instance. Not that I'm a huge basketball fan, but these guys are just one of the most disciplined, hard workers individuals in our history, and just I look up to those types of individuals. Okay, so I went to the drawing board, and first is mindset. Second is bring it into life. They're like different dimensions. First is mindset, that's your thought. Your second dimension is writing it down, having concrete goals in place. And then the third step is taking action to that. Because you can have a plan, everybody has a plan, but nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you have the mindset, you have the plan, and now take action.
Yeah.
And that's when people find their first obstacles. That's when people face their demons, their objections, their doubts. And what I did, my approach was just go all in. The internet is a powerful thing. You're able to get so much information online, and I was able to listen, YouTube, Google, whatever. I mean, all that information is out there. People are providing value out there. Again, not everybody, so do your diligence, but still. So I would practice my script. First of all, mindset, meditation every single day. Practice my script, and then go and cold call. That is it. And then that is how I was able to get listing appointments and get a list, eventually get a listing, and then open house, negotiate, close the transaction, done. That's how we just tackled it from day one, understanding our strengths and putting a game plan in place. That's really, it's just going back to the basic, doing things that people are afraid of doing. That's it.
It's funny that you say that, or it's actually nice that, not funny, nice that you say that, because I usually, when we're talking to our agents or we're talking to different people, I don't have to know you individually, but I can sit here and say, what's keeping you from getting to where you want to get.
Yeah.
I can ask that, I can tell that and make that statement to anybody. And then to most people is that one thing that you're afraid of doing, the one thing that you don't want to do, that you think it's going to hurt you psychologically, to a lot of people, is to pick up the phone and call a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing to say? No?
Yeah, that's the one thing keeping you from actually getting to where you want to get.
Yeah.
And,
so
and be consistent with that as well.
So when we encounter people who
100%.
are not afraid of cold calling anybody, it's not even cold calling, right? But it's not entirely cold calling, right? But let's say you receive a lead. It's no longer a cold lead, it's a warm lead, but you never talked to this person before.
Yeah.
And then the real estate average is that you only call or contact that lead 1.7 times, which is ridiculous. Because if we're in the relationship building business, are we building relationship that way?
Yeah.
Do we want to build relationships through text messages? Mm-hmm. I guess that's the thing now, right? But you guys are not afraid of actually calling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah.
Hey, it's me one more time. If there's anything that I can do to help you, I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? And that's that's the biggest barrier for agents to be able to develop more businesses, just to talk to people on the phone. Now, because there's only so much feelings and you can't really send body language through text messages, right? And most of your communication is actually not verbal.
Non-verbal,
right?
yes.
True. So even as you're calling people, I'm sure that you guys have a system in place, but you're not slouching on the couch calling people. You're actually in good spirits, standing up, talking to people because you want them to feel
the energy.
The energy.
Yeah.
You talk about that all the time.
100%.
Energy is everything.
100%.
You can feel it. Somebody walks in here right now with bad energy, we're like, oh man.
Send them back home.
The negative, really comes in. And that's why I love when you say that you want to be surrounded by positive people,
Yeah.
people who is gonna bring you up and not bring you down. Because it's easier if I stand on this table right here, and you're down here. It's easier for you to pull me down than it is for me to pull you up.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like it goes by that. And I love that you say that you learn from experienced people as well, like books, for example.
Yeah.
Like I'm huge on also like picturing something in your mind. Like Napoleon Hill talks about this a lot. If your mind can conceive something, you can achieve.
Yes.
Like when you were saying like about like I can see myself doing that. I can see myself selling that house, or whatever the case may be. It was like a joke popped in my head, like, oh, so you're that type of guy that spend that commission check without even being under contract.
No, I don't spend a commission check. What I do is I already have a bunch of commission checks in my mind. So in my mind, I'm not seeing commission checks coming in. I see already my bank account showing and the life that I want. But to respond to you, 100%. I truly believe in visualizing it. If you again, Kobe Bryant, you think he takes a few minutes every single day to see himself in his mind shooting those shots, making those shots in, and then he goes in and practices more than everybody else. And that's really what I truly believe. I believe that the way it's a very simple formula. Okay, so I look at numbers. I'm a numbers guy, so I look at statistics, and I'm like, okay, first, getting your first deal as a real estate agent could take, on average, it could be like 6 months. I mean, that's crazy. And I'm like, okay, what are these average individuals doing, and what can I do to not be part of that average statistic? And then when you break it down like that, I'm like, okay, these guys, you understand that the average agent does not train more than 5 minutes, script training or whatever it is, more than 5 minutes a day. I mean, think about that. You go to listing appointments, you cold call individuals, you have conversation with buyers or sellers, and you're not practicing minimum 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
5 minutes a day should be like
mandatory.
Mandatory, yes. Yeah. And you're not doing that, and statistically you're not throughout the whole stage. They're not doing that, but then. Now you understand why the statistic says that 90% of the deals are done by 10% of the realtors.
Yeah.
So the question is, what are you going to do?
100%.
Are you going to do what
90% are doing?
90% are doing, or the 10% are doing? And the 10% are not special. They're just a little bit more disciplined and have more structure, and they have a plan in place. That's the only difference.
Consistent.
Yeah. The only difference.
Yeah. I've been fortunate enough to have a few friends who've made a lot of money in life, and I look at all their patterns, and they're no geniuses.
Yeah.
They're smart people, but no geniuses.
Yeah.
But one thing is that I've noticed across the board is they've stuck to one thing for decades, 10 years, 20 years, doing the same thing, right? And eventually it pays off sooner or later. Sometimes to a lot of them sooner than later, right? But it's good to be able to, I think this industry gives us a lot of that is, we can sit with the person who's been scraping up every dollar that they have in order to buy a $100,000 condo, but we also sit with the person who's buying $1 million homes more than just once.
100%.
Yeah, and then we have access to them and we have interactions with them, and we try to learn from all of them, not only from the $1 million ones, but also from the $100,000 ones, right? Because we've been there. We all come from that, right?
Yeah.
We've experienced that before. And in talking to all of these people, I'm like, the one thing that I can say throughout all of them is consistency. And then you can also see the lack of consistency in the ones who have not made enough for themselves.
Yeah.
Plenty of people who are geniuses, like plenty of people super smart, but they lack that consistency, which in this business is so essential. It's crucial.
Or action.
Right? There's the peaks and valleys of real estate, right? You don't have any deals in the pipeline, and then you start working hard, calling people, getting on the phone, social media, recording videos all the time, and then you get some deals in the pipeline, and you get so busy with those deals, showing homes, doing inspections, appraisals, and all that, that you forgot to continue your lead nurture and lead nurture phase.
Yeah.
And trying to come up with some more clients, and then you reach a peak, you make a few good commission checks, but then you're right back to where you started. And a lot of people in real estate, because this is a 100% commission-based a career,
Yeah.
a lot of people get in financial trouble because of that. They see a little bit of money coming in, like, all right, I can put a down payment on this car now. And then 2-3 months from now, they're back at zero with no deals in the pipeline. And now they struggle to make that car payment.
Exactly.
And then they're right back at square one.
Yeah.
But the consistency can alleviate all of that, right? Keep us from being, all of us from being in those shoes. Yeah.
100%. And it all depends on to what your goals are, right? If your goal is to, for instance, make $100,000 a year because you believe $100,000 a year is going to bring you financial sort of, I don't want to say freedom, but security, financial security.
Yeah.
Then that's the only thing you're gonna hit, and you're really already setting yourself to have a ceiling in place. I think it's bigger than that. I think you have to think bigger than that. For instance, my goal is not in general to have financial security. Yes, that's a sort of byproduct of what my goal is, but my goal is to be one of the top agents in Connecticut. So I want to come back here and within my 12-month anniversary and be like, hey, Byron is one of the top agents in Connecticut. That's my goal.
All right, put that on the board somewhere.
Yeah.
Put that on the board somewhere. Put that on the board.
Schedule an invite.
Like I need my name on that list.
Yeah.
And the byproduct.
You already saw your name on that list.
I already
right?
saw my name on
Yeah.
the list.
It's like the guy was
100%.
like the other day. He's like, "Look, we're millionaires. They just haven't paid us yet."
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good one.
But anyway,
Exactly.
we know that you guys have a lot more to offer than just you cold call somebody and
That's just the beginning of
Yeah.
the process.
yeah,
right?
that's just the beginning of the process. But then when you get in front of that person, now we talk about the energy. Now you're
Yeah.
talking about like what can you bring to the table, so we can list our house with you, so we can trust you on a educational process. Because at the end of the day, that's what a real estate transaction is. You're not selling that person's home; they're selling it.
Yeah.
You're just educating the sellers on how to make an educated decision on selling their property or buying something. So, to the audience and everyone that watches us, thousands of people every week. I'm visualizing that.
Exactly. Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. So, what can your clients expect from you guys in terms of from beginning to end? We're gonna wrap it up with that question. What value are you adding to your clients that if I'm a seller, I'm picking you over the other 17,000 agents in Connecticut?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the truth is, there's not one answer to that question. Everybody has different goals in life. What I look at, what I focus on is, what is your goal? Is your goal to be closer to family? Is your goal to retire? Is your goal to pay down debts? Because everybody has they're in a different situation in life. And what I do is I try to make sure that I get you from point A to point B, get you where you need to be. So I don't see myself as somebody who's just helping you or facilitating on this real estate transaction. What I've learned in this short period of time is the fact that you're way more than that. You're actually helping improve individuals' lives. Somebody, they could be one client that it's just a cold transaction. They just want the top dollar for this property, and that's it. Whether you get it this month or next month, they don't care. But the truth is, the majority of my clients, they're all individuals that have goals to improve their life, whatever that goal is. And what I do is I just try to go above and beyond to make sure that I get them to where they want to be in life. For instance, I had somebody right now, I just closed that transaction. She needed to not only pay down her mortgage, but also have money in the bank to be able to put down a down payment for a new house out of state. She was actually moving out of state. When we sat down, I looked at her in the eye and I told her, I'm gonna get you to Texas with money in your pocket for a new home by the end of the month. And now the pressure is on me. And I'm happy that I was able to deliver on that. But it's not just cookie cutter. You have to do everything you can, because everybody could put a listing in the MLS. Everybody could put up ads on Facebook. Everybody does the same thing. But what is it that you can do to make sure that you expose them the most and be able to get a premium on their house so they could get to where they want to be in life? And that's truly what I believe we have done a great job doing. You want to add to that? Maybe I forgot something.
I mean, we do come in as a team, and I think that we both have different strengths, and I think
Like good cop, bad cop.
and there's a lot of like he comes across like he's very good with numbers, he's very good to getting to the point, but I think there's also like a relationship, like you said, that you build with the client and finding out their motivation and kind of just being compassionate towards that motivation, whether you agree with it or not, but helping them. And it's really that, like you said, like improving their life. So I think that connecting with them, becoming friends, understanding what like their needs, and I think together, whoever the client is at the moment, we're like, you talk to this one or you talk to that one, because you connect better with them, which is another thing that you said, like going in as a team is so great because there's things that he might feel comfortable with the client where I'm not feel comfortable explaining, or vice versa. So I do also think that aside from that being compassionate and understanding your clients, also exposing them, so because we come from that marketing background, sales marketing background, I come from print sales, and I know print forwards and backwards. So I know what looks great in front of a client. I know what looks great for a buyer, someone who's looking to buy a product. And that's another thing I think that we do offer. It's like finding the beauty. So when we are coming up with marketing material, I think, what would I buy? Like, what would get me to buy?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we both offer. We see the beauty in the product that we're selling, and then we put that on, whether it's an ad online or an email or printing it, and getting that in front of people.
Yeah.
How can we go above and beyond for our clients to make sure that we put their house or their product in the right light, to be able to find some family that's going to incredibly connect with that product, that home, and be able to pay premium for that home and make both parties happy? And that's really our goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with us, and not only on this podcast, but also as part of our team. And of course, as part of our company. Really appreciate that you came on this direction. You had so many options out there, and then you still chose to work with EXP, and then also our team. So we're really appreciative of that. We're here for all the support that you need, but you're months away from not needing that support anymore, because you're self-driven, and we really appreciate that. Really like that about you guys. You don't need to wait for us to give you any directions. You've already looked at 5-10 different items where you can follow those directions. Then you just come in and then check in with us to say, hey, like, this is where I want to go. Do you see anything wrong with it, type of thing? And I really appreciate that about you guys, because very few people actually have that. Very few people are waiting to be handed something, whereas you guys are the complete opposite. You're taking off, and the sky is not the limit. You guys are going to go beyond that, and we're going to be coming back here 12 months from now. The numbers are on the board, and then doing another interview, and then you can share that.
What did you do now? No, fantastic. As a team, I think you provide great guidance, and for instance, I like to take initiative, but getting input from you is just spectacular, and it helps me grow as a realtor every single day. So I really appreciate that as well. You take the time to actually look at my situation and give me your input and give me some sort of direction and guidance, so I could make a good decision, not for myself but for my clients.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We'll make a good team.
Yeah, thank you guys. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Very inspirational. I want to ask for whoever's going to be watching that, don't let that just be inspirational, but activation as well. Take action. Don't just feel inspired and don't do anything about it. And once again, we truly appreciate you guys here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so that's it. That's a wrap for today. Make sure you click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and share this great content that we have for you guys here every week with the Lighthouse Podcast.